Bradshaw, recruiting and staffing, and we are recruiters. So my background is more of human resources. Does anybody want to go into human resources? Does anybody know what human resources is?
What is
Human resources? Okay, so human resources is pretty much my background, and that is every large companies especially will have a human resources director, and that person is the one that's in charge for hiring folks, firing folks, making sure they have all their health insurance information they need when they start a company. Sometimes they'll do performance reviews to make sure you're working properly. They'll do things like, extensive interviews, exit interviews, any questions you have about, like if you have to take a leave of absence, or you're sick, or if you have a problem with another coworker, the human resources person in a company does that. But they are also, like I said, the ones for recruiting, which is predominantly what I do, and hiring. So companies or businesses in Greenville, and they will pay me a fee for me to find them the right fit. We do some temporary staffing, so we do some staffing for like banquet servers and concessions people that work just weekends for us at some of the big arenas and things like that. But we also do recruiting for jobs like banking. We recruit for accountants. We recruit for IT people, engineers, medical assistants, insurance professionals. So any kind of professional level job, companies will pay us for us to find the right person. So I spend probably a third to sometimes even a half of my day talking to candidates and interviewing people, trying to find that right person for that right job. So my talk is going to be on how to present yourself for an interview and just some tips that I've gathered from being with this company for about 15 years that I've learned along the way. So my first question to y'all is, who in this room wants to make money? A lot of it. Okay. So who in this room likes to have nice things, so they want to make a lot of money? Okay. I'm just curious, and I'll just take a couple of questions. Does anybody want to volunteer what they want to do when they get out of school and what they want a career to be? Yes.
Baby, you got to speak up.
Musician? Music teacher? Okay. What do you want to do? Marine biologist. Okay, awesome. Anybody else? Yeah. Engineering. Awesome. This area right now, we need engineers like crazy for this area. Yes.
law enforcement?
Law enforcement. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. My kids actually go to middle school and they have a video game design class right now. Keys Academy.
Wow.
So, yes.
Pediatric nurse.
Pediatric nurse. Awesome. Always our healthcare division at Godshall, we're constantly needing people for that. So I will tell you right now, in today's time, we have a huge demand for any kind of technical applicant. So whether you are a CNC operator or an engineer, we also have a strong need for people that have a clinical background, nurses, medical assistants. So if you're looking for careers to go into, engineering is a real strong career if that's kind of a gift for you. So we all want to make a lot of money. I want to make a lot of money. Everybody I know wants to make a lot of money because we want to buy nice things. So the first page that I gave you guys is tips for new graduates. Now, I might want to be an engineer, but that is not my strength. So the first tip is find a career that tailors to your strengths. So really think about, what are you good at? Are you good at standing and presenting in front of people? If you are, what are some careers that maybe could tailor to that, like teaching or public speaking? Or if you're good, you're really scientifically minded, maybe something like the health science field or engineering. Or if you're really gifted at writing, maybe you could go into some type of journalism or communications or teaching. So really think about what you're gifted at. So we see a lot of kids that have graduated from even college. They come in our office, and I think all you guys, you all want a career that you feel happy and fulfilled in, right? Right? I mean, you don't want to just wake up every day and go to work. That is wonderful. But the one thing to keep in your mind from my talk today, the one thing I can say is that while it's very important to find a career that you're fulfilled in, it's still a job. And you're not gonna wake up every day. I know this realtor's probably gonna say the same thing as me. Not every day is gonna be 72 degrees and sunny outside. I mean, there are days that you're gonna get frustrated at your job. There are gonna be days that you hate your job. There are gonna be days that you just wanna stay in bed all day. That's with any career, no matter what it is. Even if you're doing your heart and your life's passion, it's still work. There is still gonna be frustrations with your day. So my first question is, if you're looking for, my first comment is, if you are looking for that perfect job to fulfill everything, then you're not gonna find it. So keep that in mind when you're going for that first job. Okay, so before quitting, try to persevere a little bit, because here's what I find a lot in my office. I'll get resumes in. Y'all have all talked about resumes, right? And they've worked 6 months here, they worked 6 months here, and they worked 6 months here, and there's no consistency in their jobs. Well, as a recruiter trying to find a candidate for my clients, if they don't have a good job history, I'm not going to employ them. So it just creates a pattern of you never being able to get into that perfect position that you're looking for. So just think about it. Remember that a job is a job. It can be wonderful, it can be fulfilling, it can be a lot, it can give you a lot of great things, but it's still a job. Okay, so my rule of thumb, and this is when you get a little bit older, this isn't obviously your first job where you might be working at, a yogurt shop or McDonald's or a dress shop or something like that, but when you really get into what you're wanting to do in your career, it's going to take a couple of years for you to really get good at it. So don't give up just because you have a frustrating couple of weeks or a year. You don't feel like you know what you're doing. Give it some time. Okay, so who wants to move up? Show of hands if you want to move up in your career.
You want to move up in your career. Like get more money, get a promotion.
Yeah, who wants to get a promotion? Okay.
Chelsea,
So,
you don't?
how do you think, what are some great ideas? How do you think you're going to get a promotion?
Work hard.
Working hard. And that's common sense, but pushing yourself, that's right. What are some ways that you think you could maybe push yourself to get that promotion? What are some things you can do? Yeah.
Offer more overtime.
Offer more overtime, that's a great example. Yes.
Overachieve.
Right, exactly. Overachieve by how? What are some maybe some
Doing more than you need to do.
doing more than you need to do? That's right. Maybe learning a new software, taking on some new responsibilities, some new tasks. So, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say pass your boss's expectations.
Exactly. So, for instance, if you're
What was that again?
past your boss's expectations. So, if your boss says, hey, I want these 5 pieces of paper typed, and you type 6, just whatever you can do to set yourself apart is definitely good. Okay. So you've had a rough day and your boss is getting on your nerves. And I will be honest, in my years and years of recruiting, there are a lot of bad bosses out there. So not only are there bad employees, there are a lot of bad managers out there. So what do you do if you're in that situation and you're just so frustrated at your manager?
Chill.
Get over it.
Get over it. Get over it, but my one advice is, because you're right, there are a lot of people that are bad out there, but don't walk off the job, because that can haunt you for years down the road. That's a real defined way that someone could say, well, if anybody ever calls for a reference years down the road, they could just say, well, I'm not going to give her a good reference because she walked off the job. So I guess just, if it's a bad situation and you're ready to leave, make sure you at least offer them a notice before you walk out the door, because that will really haunt you down the road. All right, so if you have a cold, but you're not really running a fever, do you want to call in sick?
No.
If you have a little bit of a sore throat, do you want to call out? Do you want to? Right. Okay. That, in hiring people, I can't tell you. Like yesterday, even this last week, I had an employee say, "Well, my eye's red, so I'm going to be out today." Really? That person's not getting hired by our company. She's working an assignment now, but she's not going to get hired by the company for things like that. So, my thing is, if you're not feeling so hot, take an ibuprofen and persevere, because attendance is a huge, huge issue with my clients. Feeling a little bit stuffy, Afrin works great. Got a cold, there are cough drops. Just persevere. In the short term, you may not be on your game 100%, but in the long term, if you can show that you've got great attendance, that's going to springboard you to the next career. Because I will say the first thing any human resources person does when they contact a reference, they ask about, are they late? And are they there every day? If they have poor attendance or they're late, that is a huge red flag. So I'll even encourage you now that you're in school, because sometimes employers will use teachers as a reference. If you're out and you're not showing up on time, that can haunt you for years to come. So make a real concentrated effort to be dependable. I can't stress that enough. That is probably the number one reason why I have to fire people, is for attendance or dependability or tardiness or not being there because of some small little anomaly that can be avoided. Okay. All right, so my next question, I'm going to skip down one because I felt like we talked about work completed in the designated hours. Okay. I finished school in the 90s, so I'm a little older. But I can promise you, in my first job, I did just fine without having a cell phone. And I use my cell phone. I've got it, I've got kids in school and I work full time, so I keep my cell phone around for emergencies. But I cannot stress enough, the world will go on if you're at work and you don't answer your text. Unless it's a dire emergency, and those sometimes do happen, put your phone somewhere. Do not get tempted by it. That's probably the number 2 reason I have to fire people, is for cell phone distractions, or Facebook, or LinkedIn, or not necessarily LinkedIn as much, or Instagram, or whatever. Social media and cell phone distractions, I cannot stress it enough. Your first job, wherever you are, don't let your phone be a temptation, because it's so easy. You hear the phone, you hear the beep go off, and it's just our natural inclination to pick up and look at it and respond back. But if an employer catches you doing that, in a lot of instances, it is grounds for termination. And once you start in that termination mode, it's hard to get another job. There are so many people I won't hire if they've gotten fired for something like a text or a dependence issue or something like that. Okay. And then, again, just attitude is everything. It's so easy, and it's so easy to badmouth where you, it's work. It's not necessarily fun all the time. It's so easy to roll your eyes, to badmouth, to say something nasty about the person that's making you do something, about a coworker that's creating drama. Just take the high road if you can. You just don't know where that's going to lead you down the road. Attitude is everything. If you can show in your first job that you got a good attitude, it will springboard your career. And like I said, it's in your vested interest to do it, because if you start off on the right foot, it just takes you that much farther to advancement right away. So again, references are key. Every employer gives them. If you get a bad reference, it is hard to get back on track. So just remember that. Okay, do y'all have any questions? I feel like that's kind of basic stuff y'all already knew, but maybe something you just wanted to hear to get reinforced. Do y'all have any questions about that before I go on to the interviews?
Well, I do. Can you tell them some things that they're doing in high school that kind of emulates what is happening in the real workforce?
Yeah, talking about classroom attitudes and things like that. Yeah. So any employer specific, and I haven't answered your question right, but if you get in the habit of being late to school, it's real easy to stay in that habit of being late to work. If you get in the habit of missing a lot of days, it's really easy to get into work with that same kind of habit. If we hire someone and they have not worked before, we have to get references, so we'll go to teachers to get a reference. And we'll ask questions like, does this student go above and beyond? Are they there every day? Are they engaged in the classroom? Do they participate in the lessons? So, does that kind of answer your question?
Yes.
So, what you do today really does impact what your future holds. It's kind of, you get better grades and you go on and just better school and you get better grades, and then it feeds on itself, and then you can get a job. If you do well in that job, you get a better job, and you know, there's so many, nobody, no matter what your background is, no matter your intelligence level, recruiting for 15 years, I can tell you that the best people that get ahead the fastest are the ones that have the best attitudes. Hands down. It doesn't matter where you came from, what you decide to do. If you've got a good attitude and good work ethic, you're going to find something. Even in 2008, when we were working in the recession and jobs were really scarce, there were still the good people, the good cream of the crop, always had a job. Always. There was always a need for that top level talent. To the point where there were still openings in companies because they just couldn't find that top level talent. So set yourself apart a little bit. Okay. So do any of y'all have jobs now or do anything?
I do.
You do? What do you do?
I work at Arby's.
Okay, awesome. What do you do? Parties? Okay.
I work at a hunting camp.
At where? A hunting camp? Awesome. Anything else? Yeah, what?
A job interview there.
Awesome. For where?
Public.
That is a great company. All this is good. My husband used to be a manager at Chick-fil-A, so he used to hire a bunch of high school kids. Yeah. You work at Ingalls. Okay. So, yeah.
I work at Pizza House.
Pizza House. Okay. Love that place. Okay. Those are all, anytime I see a resume and I see some of those jobs on there, I know those are, my husband's in the was in the fast food business, and I can tell you, I know what you guys have to go through. It is tough. It is fast-paced. It is messy. It's hot. It's greasy. It's demanding. You know, if I see that someone has persevered in a fast food restaurant or an Ingalls or somewhere like that for a couple of years, and I call up their manager and their manager said, yeah, they were there every day, they had a great attitude, automatically that is a check in my favor, because that shows right there that you've got a lot of perseverance to take on adversity and move forward with it. So this next little segment is on interviewing tips for those of you that maybe don't have a job yet, or maybe you're looking for that second job, so perfect time for you. So my first question is, and I tried to tailor this towards guys that are in high school, but these are some tips that you can kind of keep when you get beyond high school too. Are y'all juniors, seniors, mix?
It's mostly sophomore.
Sophomores, okay. So I've got a couple of years. So my first question is, make sure you know where you're going. If you get a job interview, let's say you responded to an ad in the paper or something like that, I would encourage you to even, you know, it's so easy now with Google Maps and everything to find it, but just to prevent any last minute disasters, just ride by the day before so you know exactly where you're going. If it's not necessarily a Publix, but another office, like if you get like a little clerical job or something like that, a lot of times they'll have websites. If you want to impress an employer, look at their website and really learn what they do, and a little bit about their company philosophy and stuff like that. So definitely do your homework ahead of time, and try to think above and try to just kind of think in your head, like, where did you go above and beyond? Just put some examples in your head, like maybe you run track and you practice harder than everybody else and you cut your times down. Or maybe you're captain of the football team because of your leadership abilities. Or maybe you're a fail in a class, but you turned it around and ended up making an A in the class. Just think of some kind of personal successful example that you could give in your interview talk. So think ahead of time. Okay, and then I tell people, make sure you arrive just a little bit early, because arriving late to an interview, no matter what it is, even if it's, Publix or Hardee's or Wendy's, if you arrive late to an interview, what do you think that tells the employer? You're going to be late all the time. So I can't stress the importance enough of arriving on time for an interview, because that will be an automatic to a lot of employers if you're late for an interview, because they're automatically thinking this is going to be a problem. Okay, so dress for an interview. Now, obviously, if you're interviewing for Publix or Hardee's or something like that, you don't necessarily need to dress like this. But I tell people, for an interview, dress how you feel like you would look the best, the most professional. I personally, even for fast food restaurants and things like that, I think I would stay away from jeans and flip flops. I wouldn't wear any tank tops. If you smoke, make sure you don't on the way to the interview. No gum chewing. I'm a big believer in not having perfume and cologne. Some people are just so sensitive to that, so I'd rather just have nothing. Especially in our office, we have a lot of clients that interview in these little rooms, and if someone comes in wearing perfume, they are blown away, and you don't know who's sensitive to it and who's not. So I would definitely try to refrain from perfumes, colognes, gum, all that. Okay, and then compensation, a little bit may not be as pertinent to you guys as you go for your first job, but remember, not to really talk money on the first job, let them kind of bring it up. Body language, huge. There's one thing about that you can practice ahead of go to your interview. Look your interviewer in the eye. That is so critical. That nothing frustrates me more than when I get someone in and they won't look at me when I'm trying to talk to them. So practice if you need to ahead of time. Practice on your friends or your parents or whatever, but just make sure you look that interviewer in the eye and sit up straight. And just be your true self. But having that eye contact is so key to be engaged. Okay, and then positive. Don't say anything negative, especially like maybe this is your second job and you had a really ugly first job. Just steer away from the ugliness of your first job. If they ask why you left, you could say something rather than, this is it was just a terrible place to work. You could say, well, I'm seeking another opportunity in a positive environment. And there's a way to slant things. If you had a boss that yelled at you all the time, I didn't say my boss yelled at me all the time, just that, I'm looking for a positive management experience. So just keep everything really positive. All right, I'm kind of skipping over number 6. And again, I just really tell people to avoid yes/no answers. Just think of examples before you're going in. Why do you want the job? What can you do for the job? What are some skills you have? What are some experiences you've had in the past that can help you in an interview for the future? So just instead of yes/no question, yes/no answers, I think that's the best way to do that. Okay. So second page, number 8. Be prepared to ask questions from the interview. And here's a tip I'll bring up too. And I'll put it in the notes somewhere. But so when you go to a job interview, are you there? Do you think the employer is hiring you so he or she can make your life better?
No.
So why are they hiring you? Why are you getting hired?
Get money.
For your hard work.
You're getting money, but why would the employer hire you?
Joe has,
Yeah. To make profit, that's right. They want to bring someone on board that's going to make their life easier and more profitable. So if you're going to get hired, keep in mind that the reason they're going to pick you is not because they're going to make your life better, but they're going to pick you because you're going to make their life better. So it's a paradigm shift in thinking. There are so many times I'll interview people and they're like, well, I really, I want a job that gets off at 5:30 every day, or I want a job where I have a lunch break, or I want a job. It's not about I want, it's about what can you do for the employer. Because they're not in it for intrinsic value just to be a philanthropist and provide a high school graduate with a new job opportunity. They're in business to make money, and they want to bring you on board so you can help them make money. So go with that mindset that I'm interviewing to make your life better, not you to make my life better. So, again, think of examples how you can make your life better. Show examples of how you've been a hard worker. Show examples on how you've been dependable. Does anybody here have perfect attendance? Do they? Awesome. Bring that up in an interview. Hey, I've never missed a day of school. I'm gonna be there every day. Here's my track record.
You're just tell us what.
Okay. All right, and then finally, my last thought, and I swear this is still good. Send a handwritten thank you note. There, so many employers are the old school, they're a little bit older. Everything's now so emailed. If you send a handwritten thank you note, that just, if you're in there with 5, 10 applicants for one job, and you send them that handwritten thank you note, just a quick thank you for this opportunity. I'd love the chance to, work at this job. That takes your marketability from here to here. It's amazing how far just a simple follow-up thank you note will go. So, anyway, that's kind of my talk, kind of some common sense stuff. But does anybody have any questions about human resources or recruiting or interviewing or hiring or what to do, what not to do?
Now, how should she dress for her job at Publix?
Okay, I would not wear the flip-flops. I think that's a good question. I think I would dress up. Are you going straight from work, from school to your job interview?
No.
Okay. I think for the job interview, like those, what are those, like those pants are probably fine. I think I would wear something on a sweatshirt and a tank top. Just like dress like Publix dresses. Like they're all in the,
I have some dress pants and a nice
Collar.
shirt from my old academy school.
perfect. That would be awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I tell you what, also, and I think I mentioned this last year. So that's what all last job is Publix. I love Publix, and cutest girls at the Publix where I shop. But one of them, she always looks so cute. She just has some of these little pearl earrings. She got them. I'm sure. You can get pearl earrings at Claire's for $5. I don't know what it is, but that just, for some reason, makes her look so much more professional. And she always has these on, and she always looks like $1 million. I think it's because of those pearl earrings. So conservative jewelry, yeah, I'm a little bit of a fan of that, but I just think that looks,
Yeah.
so it just adds a little bit of a professional touch.
We had a
So-
question over here. Somebody?
Yeah, do you recruit people from certain fields of work or all?
We did, the only thing we don't do any, so our firm started in 1968, so we've been around for a long time. It's a family-owned firm, so we got second-generation owners. When I started, we did a lot of what's called light industrial staffing. So we did the production floor workers. We don't do that anymore. What we recruit now for is more skilled workers. So anything we do, accounting, finance, human resources, information technology, medical, insurance, what am I missing? Customer service, sales, marketing, high on the technical side, like jobs that I don't
Interesting.
really quite understand. CNC programmers, Six Sigma certified plant managers. So we do a lot on the manufacturing engineering side that's not production, but maybe they've had additional certifications for. So I'm curious, what are most people's plans once they graduate? Do y'all know yet? Thinking about technical school or college or, yeah. Greenville Tech, awesome. Greenville Tech's got some awesome programs. So what do you want to get at Greenville Tech for, do you know?
Business management.
Okay, good. Do you know what you want to do once you get your degree?
Not exactly, I don't know.
Okay, still looking, okay. Yeah,
Greenville Tech.
Greenville Tech, awesome. I know what else they want to do? Not sure yet, y'all got time to decide. You do? What?
I'm going to tattooing to save money.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And then go to Orlando to my college.
okay. Now, what college do you want to go to in
Tulsa
Orlando?
University.
Or no, what kind of school is that? Is it for design or?
It's like for art, what is it, journalism, like all the
Yeah.
media, like arts and stuff.
That's a good field to go into too. Graphics, communications, those are some great fields to get into. That's awesome. Yeah.
Question, where it said number 8, tip number 8, where it says ask questions, about how many questions should a person ask?
That's a good question.
And what kind of questions?
Yeah, so ask questions during an interview. Like, you may ask where long-term growth, if it's obviously, if you're interviewing at Arby's or Publix, there's not a huge career path to follow. But you may ask, how long have you been here? What's the turnover rate like? What do employees like most about working here? What is the strength that you're looking for in the company? What is a typical day like here? What are the biggest challenges of employees that come to work for us? So just some thought out questions. What is a day in the life like here? What can I expect? Just something to show that you're actually engaged in the interview. So yeah, that's a good question.
All right,
I just
so-
kind of skipped over some of that. But
All right, kind of shoes,
shoes?
what are those shoes called? Sperry's.
I think Sperry's are okay. You talking about Sperry's like the leather shoes?
Yes.
Are those good to wear?
Yes, would
Yeah.
they be a good shoe?
Yeah, I think Sperry's would be a great shoe.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Conservative is always better. I really would stay away from, when I say open toe, like flip flop kind of shoes and sandals. But like Sperry's, like what you have on, I think those are great. Yeah, those are great. Yeah, I'd maybe stay away from tennis shoes. Definitely jeans, definitely t-shirts. I'd stay away from tank tops, t-shirts, jeans, flip-flops, sweatpants. Yeah,
How should you have your hair when you're doing that?
conservative. Just however you want to have it. Conservative down, ponytail's fine.
A bun?
Braids fine, bun's fine. Yeah. Yep.
No bangles.
Yeah, just maybe, I like to say keep less is more. Rings, I would keep just maybe one ring on hand.
A lot.
Yeah, jewelry and stuff, I would keep off. I mean, sometimes I interview people and they've got necklaces and bangles and big fat earrings and hair all up, and it just doesn't, less is more. I'm just a big believer in
What did you have?
keeping. That's a good question. That's a great question. Tattoos, when I first started God School, I would say, oh God, cover that up. But tattoos are so much the norm this day. I mean, we interview professional people. Even my kid's pediatrician has a tattoo right there. So, I think like Greenville Health System is pretty. It probably depends on the tattoo and how big and all that. But in Greenville Health System, I think it's gotten real conservative. Like they make you cover them up, like if you're working for them. Again, I'm a little old school. I don't have any tattoos, but I do think less is more. So if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, just that stays with you for life. So when you start getting saggy and I get some things, those tattoos are still gonna be there.
Saggy.
Yeah, saggy. Just before you get one, like I said, I come from an old 40-something-year-old conservative person. Just think long term about tattoos.
Now, is a watch necessary on the interviews nowadays?
No, not at all.
No.
Most people have their cell phones. But that is another thing. Definitely in the interview, make sure you turn your cell phone off. Turn the ringer off.
What about vibrate?
Yeah, everything. Just turn everything off. You just don't want to hear it. It's very distracting in an interview.
On average, how long do you look at resumes? What's your average time of looking?
That's a great question. And I was going to talk about resumes, and I shifted gears a little bit. 10 seconds, probably. Yeah, I mean, it is when I'm rifling through resumes. Because when I get a job order, I will sometimes pull up a query of about 150 candidates, and it's nope, nope, nope. And then I'll find one I like. This one's kind of interesting, and I'll spend a little bit more time on it. But about resumes, a couple of things to keep in mind about resumes. Number one, keep in mind that a lot of human resource recruiters, they have limited time, short attention spans, so you want it to stand out and be very succinct. And when I say succinct, Don't write a diary, don't write a narrative, don't keep it in an I form, make bullet points. It can be more than one page. Some people ask about that, and they do themselves too much of a disservice. They make it too short, where they're not putting down some of their real marketable skills. So you can definitely do more than one page, but make sure it's very easy to read, and have several people look at your resume to catch grammatical errors. That's a huge problem. Make sure everything's in the same tense. Yeah, but a lot of times I'm just looking at a quick resume, and then, like, for instance, resumes will come to my computer when they apply for my jobs, and I literally look at it for a second, okay, yeah, invite in. And another one comes in, and I'll tell you the things I'm looking for, in addition to prose and skill set, I'm looking at longevity a lot of times. If they've been somewhere every 6 months, I toss them. But they go in our keep on file pile. You know, if they are full of grammatical errors, then I toss it. You know, if they have some applicable skill sets, and it's very succinct and easy to read, that goes in the good pile. So, but I look through them really quickly, because I have to, just because of the time we have involved. Someone had a question?
I was just gonna ask what stands out to you on it.
That's a great question. Neatness, being able to read it very succinctly, proper grammar, and really just a bullet point, crisp, clean resume without a lot of fluff to it is the best. Now, sometimes graphics people or artists will send resumes and they have all this kind of funky graphics and a lot of Photoshop and Illustrator. I sometimes get a little bit distracted by those. So I like those real neat, succinct, bullet pointed resumes where everything's in the same tense, meaning that you don't say, I did this, and then the next, you know, you say, I do this. I mean, I like to see, you know, it's all in the present tense or all in the past tense. Just make it very readable.
You're looking for number changes?
I look for, a lot of times, job history. I look at education. I look at job history. I look at the skills that they've done in their job, the type of work that they've done. A lot of times when I'm looking at resumes too, I'm thinking about a specific job in mind. So that makes a difference too. But those are probably the top things I'm looking for is what have they done and how long have they done it? What's their education background? And what skills do they have? Like, you know, do they have QuickBooks experience, or do they have Photoshop experience, or whatever I'm looking for that specific job? The more skills you can write on the resume, the better. So really focus your resume on skills. So.
Any additional questions?